Yeah. Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves, see a hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Man, what's happening out there, y'all? Got a little post-election show I wanted to come by and do, man. I think I'm trying something new now. I'm trying to make some of these shows, these monologues, a little bit shorter, and try to do them a little bit more often. You know, there's a lot of topics out there to talk about. Specifically tonight, though, just kind of like keeping up with the temperature in the little community of people that we kind of do this stuff with. It's been interesting. That's one way that you can kind of describe it. I think that there is a lot of layers here. It's a lot to really try to unpack all at one time. So I'm gonna try to address it like little by little. Trump is the new president, whether I like it or not, whether you like it or not, right? We're still African Americans. We're still here. We're still under the laws of the land, and that definitely ain't all bad. Definitely not all bad. To get real serious, that's a great way to describe politics. It's not all good and it's not all bad. And when I'm talking about the difference between Democrats and Republicans. It's a good way to try to look at somebody's policy and try to see, what about it works for you, works against you, or why you should vote for somebody at all. All those different factors, make their play their part, as at least they should play their part as far as your decision making goes. I'm not a person who votes on party. It doesn't matter to me what color they run under, whether it's red or blue. I'm more so looking to try to see how it can help me specifically first. Me specifically first, absolutely. And then secondarily, I'm trying to see how their policies can, affect the people around me, my immediate circle. Which would be African Americans and middle and low income working people, the everyday people, right? The working class people. How do their policies affect those people? So, and I'm really hearing a lot of crazy takes when it comes to politics right now. And peace, Sister Tika. Thank you for showing up. I've heard black people say some really, really crazy stuff today, right? I heard one black person say, one black man say that they believe that the White House is for white people and black people don't belong in the White House. That's what he said. He said white people belong running the country. And black people don't have no business running the number one economy in the world. That's what he said. I also heard another black man say that they love gentrification. That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. I can't speak for him. I think that those are outlandish takes, and I think that that's a part of the wildness, right? Is you lose sincerity once you go too far right or too far left. and then you wind up having to stand on some really wild takes, some really downright stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'd much rather talk about, how can we benefit from this outcome regardless? Because that's what it's going to be for the next 4 years. It's going to be an adjustment period for us. It's going to be an adjustment period for them. You know what I'm saying? We're all going to have to figure out how we can make the best of it, how I can make the next 4 years as profitable for myself, for my people group as humanly possible. And like I said, first for myself, secondly for my people group. And that's simply because I can't do anything for anybody else unless I'm healthy. It's period, point blank. That's how I see it. I don't see it working any other way. Um, so the takes have been super wild, and I want to follow the election. I want to follow the aftermath of the election in my specific way, and try to just follow the policy and see where it takes me. Like, I want to see what they're able to do with a Supreme Court that's Republican, with a Senate that's Republican, and the presidency that's Republican. Those are basically your three decision making bodies, and they are, lack of better words, dominating them all. Right, so they should have very little problem implementing whatever they want to implement for the next 4 years. Well, to be a little bit easier, certainly the next 2 years. The next 2 years, they've definitely got like control of the Senate, and there's nothing to break that up. So interesting. I'm not one of those people who feel like the sky is falling because of that. I am one of those people who's very curious on how trickle down economics is good for the working class people. I know it's good for the economy, but what part of the economy, right? Like, it's not, it's doesn't seem to be good for everybody in the economy. If you ask me, I could see where the that top 10%, top 15, 20% benefits a lot from it, but you're talking about the real minority. But if you want, you could make a case that that is the majority of the economy. You could make that case too, right? So when you say the economy is doing good, I mean, what part of it is doing good? Is it, it's not as simple as when you say the economy, everybody's rising and falling at the same level. So that's not true. So keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? The YouTube streets right now is flooded with a lot of crazy takes, some crazy views. As far as like, now that Trump is in office, you know, what do black people do? What do Democrats do? And the simple answer is like, take it day by day, and make the best of it. The same thing you would have had to do if Democrats got in there, for the most part. Democrats might have they might have leaned towards wanting to make some more programs for black people. They might have leaned towards wanting to make tax breaks that were more specific to working class people. But now that they didn't win, how do we take advantage of some of the situations that the Republicans make? Right, their stuff is more leaning towards deregulation for corporations, right? More making it easier for corporations to make money. How do we find ourselves playing in that arena also, so we can just figure it out, man? I mean, that's what it's always going to be about. Like I said, it's going to be an adjustment period for us and them. And when I'm saying us, working class people, and them, uh, um, I guess the millionaire, billionaire people, right? It's an adjustment. We're gonna have to make it whether it was Trump or Kamala who won that. So those are my real plans, man. I've heard, I've been keeping up with a lot of CNN takes. One of the most interesting things that I've run across is um, Robert Kennedy Jr. being the dang, I forgot the title now. Basically, he's going to be running the health of the country, right? And he's got some crazy takes as far as some non-scientific takes as far as like how to fix the FDA, right? FDA is responsible for a lot of those additives that are going into our food nowadays, and I'm actually interested to see how much of that he can fix. I'm definitely for the idea of putting less ingredients in our food. So that's one part of what he actually says that I agree with. And he also says he's also an anti-vaxxer, right? So it's twofold. Again, not all good, not all bad. So hopefully we can see some of those processes in place that stop somebody from going too crazy off the rails. Some of the how do you call it, the not the stop gaps, right? But like the chains of command, right? Where one person can't have so much power that they go unchecked, the checks and balances. So hopefully those checks and balances don't allow him to just run rampant and go with his own ideas and theories as far as taking all the fluoride out the water, and God knows some of the other stuff that he might have in mind for maybe vaccines. Or you got a lot of anti-scientific takes, and that's very concerning to me. He's got a take out there that said that he contracted some kind of parasite and was nibbling on his brain for a little while, and then just died somewhere in his head. Was never removed. He's got another take out there that he chopped off a whale's head. I think he had another one out there where he dumped a grizzly bear cub in Central Park as a joke. Thought it'd be funny. So crazy guy. And true story though. So that's about to be our head of health in the country. That guy. Yeah, he actually had a debate about the anti-vaccine, and it didn't do too well. Matter of fact, that was the pseudo killers who had that debate with him. So pseudo killers kind of took it to him and his doctors one night about not getting vaccinated. It was pretty wild. Pretty wild. What's up? Peace to the chat, man. I'm glad y'all showed up. And I say I'm kind of making this a short one, man. I want to be able to give myself enough endurance to do more short shows, right? I think that might be a good way for me to try to go about it, and and just get on here a little bit more. Man, what's up, Chef? I saw your show too, man. You had some good takes. Some stuff I'd agree with, some stuff I wouldn't agree with. One of the, be honest with you, your show is what made me really want to go live about the whole thing, because you sounded like for a quick second that because Trump was in office, separatism would become more popular or a more viable option for Black people moving forward in politics. And I think that's totally ridiculous. That's actually another take that I heard today from the same person who said that Black people don't belong in the White House. He said the White House was for white people and only white people should run the country. That's also another thing that he said, is that the best thing that they could do for us is go back to separatism. That's what he said. So that means locking us out of all the benefits that their tax dollars grant them, right? Like your public school system is based on tax dollars. So if you remove these high incomes tax dollars, you have a lot less of a budget in order to create schools, in order to I guess do whatever you'd want to do in your community, right? Fix the potholes, make a basketball court. Well, where is money coming from? If all y'all low income people, that means y'all paying a small amount of taxes. Those fewer high income people are paying a higher amount of taxes, and they are a larger part of the budget than you are. You said it. At least that's what I got from what you said when you were mentioning Malcolm X. You were mentioning Malcolm X, and you were talking about Malcolm said that the majority of black people were for separatism at the time. All right, it sounded like you was kind of cheering that on a little bit. I listened to it twice to make sure I heard what I heard, and it wasn't quite as egregious the second time as it was the first time. But hopefully, hopefully the tone of how we deal with politics moving forward is more about how we can find ways to benefit from this situation, regardless of who won, or, who's in office now, regardless of which, um, you know, I guess whether it's Republican or Democrat in office, how can we find ways to take advantage of whatever it is they put out there? Because that's really what's important. That's something that we can use. We can't. I don't see how we can really use separatism. Right. I don't see where separatism is in our best interest in 2024. He said, I was saying that our vote box and political aim should be more consolidated, being a minority community. Okay. There's nothing to disagree with there. I mean, I feel like, I was also it also made me aware of, you can't allow, you can't remove somebody from their opinion. You got to let people have an opinion. If they don't have an opinion, they don't have anything to bring to the conversation. So I can't start out by saying, I think your opinion is wrong. I might be like, well, I think I might be able to ask you, hey, did you consider this along with your opinion? Right? Does your opinion fall short here? And if not, tell me why. So yeah, I would much rather approach it like that, right? I feel like we can move forward rather than we're just constantly butting heads about what it is I think is right and what it is you think is right. So you won't have to. They're gonna separate us. Hits. Bruh. I doubt it. I doubt it. It's like at some point, the at some point it becomes a little bit of a symbiotic relationship where, if you're going to make plans to remove immigrants, or if you still have a very large portion of your workforce doing these labor intensive jobs, or these jobs that don't pay the greatest of wages, excuse me, people who aren't finishing college and doing desk work for long periods of time. Those people, I mean, you got to have something kind of like, not to say something for them, but if you're not going to do that work, well, then somebody's kind of got to do it, right? It's either got to be, minorities, immigrants, or rich people got to do it. At some point, it's got to be rich people taking out the trash. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't know. I mean, I hate that was just the example that came to my head, but they got to be doing the construction work, or they got to be doing the dirty work, the ditch digging, that they deliberately outsource those types of jobs to people who can't afford to say no to them. It's a part of that the system. It works like that. um. So yeah, so there were some interesting things that came up. As far as like just keeping up with CNN and why they think the Democrats lost, and um, that's been a hot topic this week, and I kind of agree with that. Right, I was saying it from the jump of why they brought out Megan Thee Stallion. I thought that was disgusting, right? Like the fact that you would even bring her out on a large stage like that. It basically says that this is how you view your audience, right? You think that that's what we came here for. Like this whole time, we're still waiting on you to discuss your policy and how you're going to get this stuff done once we actually elect you, and you think we want Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know if that's more of Kamala or if that's more of the Democrats, but I thought that that was very, very poor as far as like how you sell your campaign to us, right? That was like if that was their idea of pandering, they need to switch that up completely. You know what I'm saying? Like they need an overhaul of ideas moving forward. They should take these 4 years, these next 3 years, and just spend as much money as they can on surveys. Right? They absolutely need to get back in touch with what does. Oh, you're absolutely right. Hits very, very tough choice. Very, very tough choice. Um, Very, very tough choice. I like, well said. I just put it like that. So where was I? Yeah, they need to spend a lot more money on surveys and get back in touch with what the working class people are actually looking for. Because that's supposed to be their base, and clearly they lost it. You know, clearly they weren't in touch with the people that were supposed to be voting for them at all. That's the only way you can lose that bad is the people that you expect to show up for you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like when your superstars on your team just don't play well, and now we're relying on the bench guys to win us games. It's going to look bad. You know what I'm saying? Trump is a much lower bar. Trump is a much lower bar if you have standards that are based around integrity, right? If you have standards that are based around integrity and character, I agree. Oddly enough, I don't think the majority of America agrees, and that's what the election showed. That was one of the craziest parts I learned about this whole watching the campaign. It said the average person that is voting oh my god. So the average person that is voting is like they don't care that Trump is a horrible human being. They don't care that he is a pea grabber. They don't care that he makes not even slightly racist. I'm about to say slightly racist. They don't care that he makes racist comments. um they have their reasons for voting for him, and his character was yeah, the math book is rolling, yo. His character wasn't a main factor. It wasn't a deterrent for people, right? His poor business practices wasn't a deterrent for people. The fact that he was willing to say immigrants were eating pets it was unfounded. Should have been the end, right? If you had any sort of like, I don't know, like to me, my moral fiber just wouldn't allow that to just let me just let that go. That's me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to look past putting somebody who in office that I feel like I can't trust to make um, those moral fiber decisions. For me, if I can't trust you to make those moral fiber decisions, how do I expect you to really keep your word? Anything that you tell me could just be something that you want me to hear in order for you to get my vote. But I can't hold you to it because I you know, whole time I know your integrity isn't there. High risk national security, I'm not sure about that. Not too sure about that. Definitely tried to overthrow the election. And again, crazy, crazy, crazy. As much as I care, much as it seems like you care, America didn't seem to care. Mind blowing that he could win at that staggering rate of landslide that he won by after he basically just said screw democracy, right? Like that's crazy to me, absolutely crazy. But America didn't really care. Yeah, and it could be, it could be multifaceted too. It could be a little bit of people just weren't confident in Kamala, right? I definitely found myself at the booth voting because I didn't like Trump, but not because I love Kamala. I definitely found myself there. I was not sold on equal opportunity economics. I was not sold on any of her plans that she put out there for black people. I mean, she put it out there last minute. It's not like she ran her campaign on it. You know what I'm saying? I already felt like an afterthought. You did this like the last what was it? I think it was the last 2 weeks or something like that. I mean, either way, this was on the back end of you answering a specific question of are you going to do something for black people, and your answer was no. You put some context around it, you cleaned it up. I mean, you could make an argument that it wasn't as bad as the no, but you said no. I mean, you could have very easily said yes and cleaned that up too, but you decided to say no. And then, so after you say no, then you're going to go against what you said, right? A couple weeks later, once you feel like your momentum's dying down, try to regain momentum by pandering back to the same people who you just told no. Now, granted, black people turned out in big numbers for Kamala. That was cool. That was cool. Um, that's what's up. So the majority of black people certainly were voting against Trump, but the rest of the country didn't. And for the most part, the black people weren't the. For the most part, he did say some crazy stuff about Detroit and some of the black cities around the country. But he said a lot more crazy stuff about Spanish people than he did black people. And the Spanish people, they weren't deterred by that at all. They showed out in big numbers or a large percentage for Trump, huge percentage. And the same people, or some of the same people whose families he threatened to deport. I can't believe he he came to a rally talking about he was going to re-implement the 1798 Anti-Immigration Act or something. I forget exactly what it was called, but I mean, how arrogant. How arrogant, and it was kind of like he was very lowbrow, man. I mean, it was disgusting, definitely was. But that's who America felt more comfortable in. They felt that he was going to be a better leader when it comes to the economy, which was like one of the largest like conversations that people were interested in and having fixed. Inflation's out the window right now. Eggs is like really, really, really stupid high. Everybody's blaming that on the Biden administration, and they attached that to Kamala. Kamala did a horrible job of laying it out there as far as making people feel confident in she was going to straighten that out in a short amount of time. And it showed. It showed with the voting polls. It showed that people were not confident in her ability to fix the economy. And people are, Trump is popular. One of the things that you did say, Chef, that I thought was very, very cool. Sounded like you got it from somewhere, but I don't care. You said that he couldn't say enough racist stuff to be racist, right? Like he couldn't he couldn't lie enough to be a liar. I thought that was profound. I really liked when you said that. That hit home, right? That's when I was like, yeah, Chef, I like that part. But I'd spend more time on the part about it that I liked. And I told you the part I didn't like already, so we all good. Let's see, evening came in with a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Yeah, like the video, y'all. I appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. Just trying to do something short, man. I don't want to exhaust myself. I actually want to get back on here either tomorrow or the next day and discuss a little bit more intricates on the policy. Get myself into going a little rhythm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to like exhaust myself with a super long show and then kind of take a week off like I've been doing. I'm starting to feel like I need to make it to where I feel better about going live more often, for sure. This is a good topic. Like I don't plan on doing this because it's hot. I plan on doing this because my whole reason of thinking this was a good idea for me is I really wanted to share my life experience, with YouTube. We so um, it started out with how did my experience in BDSM form, a different mindset for me about myself, about my environment, and it did a lot for me, right? It definitely did a lot for me, my confidence, so on and so forth. And now it's starting to evolve into just sharing my general views on as I progress in the world, right? These are my thoughts that are allowing me to continue to progress. A lot of it's all about attitude. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a lot more about how do you deal with these adversities that are going to come, whether you like it or not. For sure, for sure, definitely send it to me. Definitely send it to me. I'm definitely interested in that. I'm definitely interested in that. I really don't have too much more tonight. Like I said, I want to give myself some more energy. Give myself some good sleep tonight. I should have a Not tomorrow will be a long day, but it's all good. Tomorrow I'll be able to put my earpiece in, and get refreshed on what ABC and CNN are saying for the rest of the week. I've been listening to a lot of Bernie Sanders too, man. Bernie cool. I like Bernie Sanders. I feel like I wasn't really into politics when he ran for president, but and they consider him the furthest left, right? He is the extreme to the Republicans, but I like a lot of the stuff that he said. I think that he's very thoughtful, right? I get the feeling that I'm talking to a person who cares about people while I'm listening to Bernie Sanders talk, and that's something that's important to me, right? Right. That's somebody that I can trust to prioritize social issues because I feel like he actually cares. You know what I mean? But those are some of that would be how I personally uh, go about making a decision on picking a candidate for me. You know what I'm saying? So if he goes into the office with those sentiments, that he really holds himself, like those things will push him to act in those particular ways. I can trust his own sentiments, right? Rather than give him my vote because I'm kind of like hoping he does it. I feel like um, giving it to Kamala would be I'm hoping she does it. To be honest with you, I don't. LOL, he cares. He sounds like he cares. He sounds like he cares. Can I start there? Can I start what he sound like he care? I think I'm moving in the right direction. That from what I could tell, it sounds like he's a mile away from where Trump is. Right? Trump don't sound like he care. He might can make me believe he cares, but he don't sound like he care. Definitely don't. Definitely don't. And shout out to you, Brass man. Appreciate you showing up in the show. I'm gonna do a commercial, man. I'm gonna try to get my thoughts together, see how much longer I'm gonna go. Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a socialist. Okay. Okay. Trump is a dictator. He's got dictator qualities. I'll put it like that. I mean, again, like we're searching for the middle ground here. You know, not all good, not all bad. I think a lot of the programs that black people use are socialistic programs. Now, our problem is how we use them, right? You know, do you use welfare to as a crutch to kind of, maybe not a crutch, probably the wrong word, right? You use it as something that kind of give yourself a little leeway while you're having a rough time, so you can bounce back. Fascist. There you go. Better way to describe Trump as a fascist. Or do you sit on welfare for 4 generations, right? Like, do you allow it to become a handicap? Think there's a difference there, right? But those programs are necessary. There are people who need some assistance, right? Just like some of those big businesses need assistance here and there. There are people who are, just living in really tough situations who could use a little pick me up here and there. So I can't be completely against socialism. Um, for everything I know about fascism, you have to be completely against that because it at its core, it kind of like relies on you not liking other people groups. So I'm not a fascist. I'm not for the fascism. Can't do the fascism. Careful now. Socialism might be too blackology or revolutionary. Uh, uh I don't think so. I think it's all about. There's some more context there, right? Like I just explained, it's not all good, not all bad. Do if would you pay more taxes? Excuse me. Would you pay more taxes to create more programs? Have more I don't know, apprenticeship programs. I can remember being a young man and losing an apprenticeship program because apparently the state lost the funding for it. Right? Would I have paid a couple more dollars in sales tax for that? Hmm. Right. I think that there's some good with all of that. It's not all, again, not all good, not all bad. Now here's one thing I do struggle with trying to find some good in. I struggle with trying to find the good in Trump's tariffs. I don't hear any economist, Republican, Democrat. I don't hear any of them saying anything good about tariffs. And yet he just won by a landslide with the claim that he can fix the economy, even though all the economists disagree that tariffs will fix the economy. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. It's um it's beyond mind boggling. I feel like it's damn near irresponsible. If that's the way you have organized your thought processes, that you think he's going to fix the economy with tariffs, and you go and listen to 10 economists in a row say that tariffs won't fix the economy, I got to go with the economist. Trump's not an economist. I understand there should be some economists behind him. And that dude needs to show his face and be like, okay, I believe that the tariffs will fix the economy like this, and this, and this, and this. That way I don't have to hear Trump's rhetoric about the tariffs, and I can actually hear what the economist has in mind when he says that the tariffs will fix the economy. I mean, will it fix it in 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years? Like, what are you thinking? What are you seeing that the other economists start seeing? I'd like to be able to get some more about that, right? So you got the tariffs, you got Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you got Elon Musk about to get like unlimited funding and pass up NASA, all this kind of good stuff. So you got some interesting stuff going on. The stock market's going absolutely crazy right now. Digital currency, the Bitcoin, the Dogecoin, everything is like literally flying right now. Not too really sure why. I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking it up why, but there is I mean I've listened to people talk about it. From what I've heard, there's not even a need to read about it. Like it, all of them say that the tariffs don't do what Trump is saying they're going to do. Um, so I mean, if I hear economists say that, I hear him break down what the tariffs actually are, how they work. It kind of didn't lead me to didn't say I need to go read exactly what he just said. Right? He just explained it, and he didn't leave it off and say, "Oh, it's really complicated. I don't have time to explain it." He explained it. Oh, that's what I saw. I mean, you have a point. Maybe I could take 30 minutes and actually go read it. But I feel like I would just get a better understanding of exactly what the economist said. I wouldn't be disagreeing with the economist. So, yeah, there's that. There's that. But yeah, that's maybe that could be a part of my next show. I can do a little bit more deep dive into the tariffs and see how is it. What's the bright side of the tariffs? How could it possibly help with inflation? Um, I am says I think a better approach would be to actually produce more of our own products here in the US. Well, that is a part of what the tariffs are intended to do. They are intended to penalize countries who are importing their goods in order to sell them into the United States. For example, if you put a tariff on Chinese goods, what happens is that the company, the American company that is purchasing the Chinese, that is importing the Chinese goods, or pays a tax to the American government in order to import that good from China. So now, with that being said, the that tax is usually passed on to the consumer here in the United States. So the problem with it is that when Trump describes the tariffs, he describes it as leverage against other countries. So if you put a tariff on China, let's be really clear that China isn't paying anything. American companies are paying the tariffs for buying from China. That doesn't sound like leverage. Now, with that being said, um, you might force those companies to, instead of paying that tariff, to buy products from local vendors, and or even erect their own facilities to make those things. Um, but it certainly doesn't. It's certainly not being used the way Trump is saying. It's not providing him any sort of leverage against China when he says he's going to put a tariff on China. That China isn't paying anything. They're not paying a dime. The American company who is buying from China is are the people who pays, and in turn they pass that on to us, which mean we ultimately pay for a tariff on China, right? So how can you rationalize fixing inflation while increasing the cost of goods? I don't understand it. I'm not sure what's there for me to necessarily read. But I'll give it a shot. I'm interested enough to hear somebody give me an explanation that tariffs will reduce inflation. I'd like to see that. I'm not clear on that. I've seen a couple different instances of tariffs actually play out, right, where there was I think there was one called the chicken trade, um, where they put a tariff on, Germans refused to buy chickens from the U.S. and the U.S. put tariffs on Germany and like the Volkswagen to bring down the sales of Volkswagens. Right? I mean, they were attempting to penalize Germany by doing that. But I mean, as you can tell, Volkswagen's still out there in the United States. It's a reasonably priced vehicle. Um, yeah, I don't see where they've killed the market. Don't see it. What else we got here? He's an idiot just saying stuff. He does a lot of that. Trump definitely does a lot of that. Cuban says, could the leverage be due to the debt America is in to other countries like China? But they wouldn't. That tariff isn't them paying that debt down. The tariff is literally paid by American companies who import goods from the country with tariffs on them. The other country is not paying a dime. Rationality left a long time ago. Brass gang banging in the 312. My dog, my homie. Because Trump is, wait for it, full of junk. Logic, snap out of it. Okay, okay, okay. Hits gang banging in the 3-4. Okay. Yeah, man. So there's some cool topics out there. I'm actually very interested in seeing how all of this stuff progresses, and the fact that Trump is going to have control of the presidency, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. They should be able to make a lot of moves in a short period of time. I'm kind of interested to 312 electoral votes. Yeah, you gang banging. You gang banging. I ain't mad at you. Do your thug this. But I'm interested. I feel like I want to be. I want to cover it. I want to see how they're able to keep some of these promises. I want to see what they're going to do with immigration. I want to see I want to see what they do to immigration, what that does to the price of goods. Right. 34 can get convictions, hits, you're banging, gang banging. I ain't tripping, yo. Wear your soldier rag. That's what we do around here. That's what we do around here, right? So if you get rid of the immigrants, like they say, agriculture is going to be one of the main places where you see a big difference from lack of immigrants. Immigrants are willing to take $5, $10 cash an hour to go out there and pick apples and oranges. They cool with it, right? Now, if you replace those people with people that you now have to pay minimum wage, 15, 20, well, I mean, that's not minimum wage, but you now have to pay, potentially a living wage, 12, 15, $20 an hour. What does that do to the price of apples, right? Like, I mean, it's simple math at that point, right? Like, does that really change the industry a lot? I mean, it potentially could. It potentially could. Very ethical. All dismissed shortly. Who's all dismissed shortly, Brad? What are you talking about? Yeah, didn't they had something on the news today that they said they were delaying all of his cases right now, right? Everything that he ever did is put on the back burner. January 6th, just we throwing that out. That wasn't no real thing. I mean, it was very serious during the election. Now the election's over. Oh man, we ain't worrying about that. We ain't worrying about you going against the Constitution, not transferring power peacefully. Huge deal. Now all of a sudden we're gonna sweep that under the rug real quick. Well, I'll just forget about that. I mean, the rest of America did so. Kind of makes you wonder about those checks and balances, though, right? Like it's like they were prepared to use the checks and balances before he got elected, and now that he's elected, now they're going to look the other way. That's what it looks like they're going to do. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to wait for him to get back out of office and then reopen the case up. I don't know. So much for checks and balances. 100% agreed. When the so-called immigrants leave, let's see all the jobs that they take being worked by the citizens of America. Well, I tell you what, I don't know nobody that want to go pick some apples right now. I'm just keeping it real with you. I definitely don't. Um, where I'm from, man, it's very common to walk down the street and or just drive through the neighborhood, and you'll see Mexicans doing all the construction work, especially like residential construction work. And of course, they're getting it done. They're getting it done right. They're getting it done well. They actually do good work, but they don't follow no standards now. You know, they might crack open a beer while they on your roof. They'll probably be on your roof with no harness. You know, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Everything except for playing the loud music. They don't do too much of that. They don't give them enough rope to be playing the loud music. But you know that's all in the game. You know what I'm saying? So you replace that with people, who bring all the standards. Now you bring in the OSHA, and you're using the harnesses, and you're slowing them down because you're making them do it all super safe and all that stuff. And it costs more. So there's now again, not all good, not all bad, right? Ain't no checks and balances when the right wing mobilize, which they just did. That's tough. I want to disagree with you right there. I want to disagree with you just for the simple reason that, right, like I want to disagree with that just so I can make this larger argument that we need to put more faith in our system of government. And then they turn around and and the show you is pliable, right? It's malleable. It depending on the circumstances, these checks and balances they hold up. Yeah, the 312 definitely shows you that the American people, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. It's something. They are certainly not they're certainly not attempting to um, hold to the rigorous standard of the Constitution over character or over the possibilities of Kamala being potentially good. They're not willing to see that. They'd much rather go with what they would consider more comfortable at the time, a more comfortable pick, which is Trump. Right? They're more familiar with Trump. Trump is a little bit more. How would you say? I guess they're just more confident in Trump getting the job done, man. I don't really know what else to say about that. I think that it could be twofold as far as us not being comfortable or confident in Kamala and us being confident and comfortable with Trump. Right? See, like my vote was against being comfortable with Trump, but it wasn't for being comfortable with Kamala. Right? I was just more concerned about what the. I said something pause worthy. Oh man, don't tell me that, bro. I was literally up here trying to make sure I wasn't saying nothing crazy. Where's all our stuff on this? Is it under brass? It ain't under brass. TMI morning show.
We ain't no motherfucking freaks. We some family men. We getting it paper. Know what I'm talking about?
It's our new pause button right there, man. You gotta have some accountability, man. You can't just be on camera saying the crazy stuff. But checks and balances go out the window, man. I might have to end the show on that because there's nothing I can say. I mean, apparently there are some wiggle room in some of those checks and balances that are not supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? That there's rigorous there's rigorous standards that we are expecting it to be is not there. It's certainly not there for Donald Trump. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate y'all pulling up. This was a cool show. Got in, got out. Was a little hour. Look, what is today? Tuesday. look for me for sure on Thursday or Friday. I think Friday I'm traveling, so I'll try to get something in on Thursday. I'm trying to do something Thursday night when I get off, and I'll have something more prepared somewhere around policy on Thursday, and we could take a look at some of Trump's promises to America. Because at this point, there's still promises. Remember, he's the concepts of a plan guy. He has concepts of a plan to get rid of Obamacare. Not nothing to replace it with, but that's where we're at. That's what the American people are confident in. So that's what they chose as their leader. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming out. It's definitely been a good one. And I will see y'all on Thursday night.